All right, we are on with Ross Bohmann. What's up, Ross?
Glad to be here.
Yeah, I'm
That's
glad
what's
you're here
up.
too. That's what's up. I love it. I'm glad you came in for the weekend. Appreciate that. On your way to RE Plus tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow it is.
It's a quick turnaround.
Yeah. Quick turnaround. Yeah, you just got flew in yesterday.
Yeah, just got done troubleshooting for about a month on some V80s.
That's what I've been hearing every night. All right, I troubleshot 3 more turbines today.
Yeah,
3 more done.
I'm still trying to get the smell of hydraulic fluid off of me, but it's okay.
Yeah,
Whatever gets it done.
that's right. Whatever gets it done. That's the attitude.
Well, as long as it's safe.
As long as it's safe, of course. So, okay, let's start with what's up with the career piece, since you can show up on site and troubleshoot 3 turbines a day and on about any platform now. Well, a lot of GE, Vestas, and Siemens too now, I think. But where did your career start, Ross?
Well, I guess to go a little further back, so I was a 94 Fox in the Army, which I guess the technical term is a computer systems detection repair. Never got to touch any computers. Not sure why it's in the name. But
well, you've confused me with like 5 words now.
Yeah. Well, so I was the guy that worked on NVGs, thermals, chemical detection equipment, ground air radar, stuff like that. As a child, I was very mechanically inclined. My dad was a mechanic. I grew up racing. I got to learn all that cool stuff. And then when I went into the military, I had to go through electrical theory on a blue and white screen and try not to fall asleep. And it was quite rough. And I didn't necessarily get to use a lot of that skill as far as troubleshooting. Everything's pretty basic and laid out in your job, right? Either it's a bad wire, use a multimeter in a O-scope, but beyond that, it's okay, it's a bad part, swap it, push it back out there, or you can't fix it and you push it to the next level for the civilian contractors to fix. But what that did do is when I got out of the military, I had no idea what I wanted to do. I was like a lost puppy just before I went in the military, right? It's the reason I went in. Graduated in 2010. 2008 economy was still lingering. Super hard to find a job as a young guy, no experience in anything, so I was doing a lot of labor stuff. But something my dad brought up while I was in the military, he's like, hey, you should go work on those wind turbines. That never came up in my head. But I went to a job fair at the Ranger Stadium in Arlington in Dallas, Texas. There's a guy with a E6 rank on his lapel, right? And he's like, hey, you want to work on wind turbines? And that's when that, my dad's words said, hey, you should go work. I'm like, well, I don't know, but let's hear about it. And so that's actually how I ran into Airstreams. And I ended up out here in Tehachapi going to Airstreams. And that's kind of how I got started, right? I applied to 82 different positions within renewables.
Oh my goodness.
And I only got 3 calls back. One was Vestas. They said, call us in 2 years when you got a little experience. Story of my life at the moment.
Right.
And then the second one was vertical limits, which it was telecommunication. I went to do that for a couple months until Granite called me. And it was a very, very weird interview. They pretty much called and said, hey, do you want a job? It's like, yeah, I'd love a job.
That's a great interview.
And they were like, I'll pay you this much. I was like, well, I want this much. He goes, okay, I'll give you this much. I said, that's a deal.
Nice.
So that's how I got into wind, going and doing maintenance at Granite. Still didn't get to use that troubleshooting stuff, right?
Yeah.
I had a lot of knowledge locked away, but I was mechanically inclined. Torquing, tensioning, all that stuff, that's super easy, right? I already know how to do it. I've used, you know, clicker style torque wrenches already in my childhood, right? Um, so did that for 3 years and um, went on to another company uh, and got into more of the troubleshooting, MCE, decommissioning, and I, you know, as much as I appreciate being under that G Field Corps umbrella, right, and meeting the amazing people that I did, once I got out from under that umbrella, I flourished.
Mm.
And that's because I got to put my hands on everything. You didn't always know exactly what you were getting into. You knew a broad scope, and sometimes you had to write those procedures as you did it, right? So it really made me grow and use that electrical and mechanical experience to the best of my abilities,
Yeah.
right? So did that for I think it was 2 years. Two, yeah, I think roughly 2 years. Um, Ended up that company got bought out. Ended up becoming a project manager for battery storage.
Mm.
So that's how I kind of got into the battery storage side. And I eventually decided I didn't really like the big corporate environment anymore after being at a smaller company before that. And when I got the call from Altair, I said, you know what, I'll take the risk. I'll go help Altair become what it wants to become, right? And I'll go back to the field for a little bit. I'll endure that pain and grow with you guys. And obviously we see the results. We're doing well. Technicians are loving it. The technicians love us being out there with them, learning from us and our past experiences, right? So,
Well, Altair is stoked that you joined.
yeah.
Yeah. No, you're definitely a key founding member, pioneering member, right? We started with like 6 guys
Yep.
last summer, so there wasn't a lot of us. Was that 6? I think something like that.
It was
6 or 7 on the first job.
well, the first one was 2.
Oh, a generator a lot. Yeah,
It was
that's
just
right.
2 of us. Yeah,
That's right.
that
Forgot about that
that was an interesting one.
one. Mm-hmm.
I got that done though, and then yeah, I think it was I don't know, was it during that job or a week later that we received the PO for the next job, and yeah, that's when we kind of brought on the first batch of actual guys and said, hey, all right, it's go time.
It's go time. Well, I love the startup story, and maybe just if I could touch on that a minute. First of all, thank you for your service.
Yeah,
Appreciate that. And what I heard was you were able to gain mechanical experiences as a child, because your dad and family's into it, and it is valuable and transferable to careers.
absolutely.
Not a lot of people remember and talk about it or think that what they know from a childhood experience is that valuable. It really is. And then you just continue to expand, and you went into more electronics. So you expanded from mechanical to electronics. Went and okay. I got to shout out to Airstreams, because one of my favorite companies. That. Talk about them all the time, and they're here in Tehachapi. So the at the Ranger Stadium, the E6 guy, that was an Airstreams
Yeah,
employee, like a salesman or something.
yeah, he was an employee. I guess I would just call him a recruiter, right? He's
Recruiter.
going to a job fair, putting the Airstream's name out, right? And he probably picked me out like a sore thumb because I still had the military haircut going on and stuff. So it's
He knows what to look for.
well, us
Yeah.
military guys, you can 9 times out of 10 you can tell. So
Yeah, that makes sense. And were you able to use the GI Bill?
I was, yeah, it was
Paid for tuition?
fully covered. I think it's called the post 9/11 GI Bill now, right? Fully covered. It's a 6-week course. Super. I don't want to call it fast tracked. I think it's a bad term. I think it will scare some people away. Say I can't learn all that in 6 weeks,
Sure.
right? But the way they have that laid out, right? They don't expect you to come out and be able to go be an electrical engineer, right?
No.
They don't expect that. They give you the base foundation, right? To say, hey, this is how you read the schematics. This is how AC/DC works. This is how you torque. This is how you tension. This is how you rescue somebody and you climb. And here's how you appropriately adjust your harness, right? So all these little things that these employers would have to teach these guys, that they don't have to, right? And it's, might be some different type of rescue system, maybe, right? That's an ever evolving thing, right? Which
Sure.
it should be. But other than that, they have a great foundation coming out of it. So
I didn't get to go to Airstreams. When I started, it didn't exist. However, I feel like I went to Airstreams because Airstreams founders and leaders were some of my mentors and teachers as a first year early technician. So I walked through their school and go, yeah, that I use that and I use that and I learned it that way too. It's fancier today. The other thing that, if I can just plug Airstreams again, because I'm such a fan. 82 applications. You sent out 82. I mean, there's people that can't figure out how to get their foot in the door with some of these companies. Airstreams is clearly connected and offers that as a benefit to the students. That's huge.
Yes, they probably know more companies in the industry than I do.
Sure.
But that's their job, right? That's their goal, is to take people that want to be in the industry, right? You don't have to come from the military, right? They're a big military supporter, right? They utilize that. But anybody can show up and say, hey, I want to take your class and pay for it, I'm pretty sure if you asked them, there's probably been a couple of people just throw it on a credit card and say, well, when I get a job, I'll pay it off.
Yeah.
Right?
Good investment.
It is.
Yeah. Let's thank our friends over at Renew Safety, your proactive partner in safety solutions, with comprehensive safety consulting, ensuring compliance with all safety regulations and standards. Expert staffing solutions, providing trained safety professionals tailored to your project's needs. Commitment to sustainability, promoting a safe and sustainable working environment. Contact Renew Safety at info@renewsafety.com and speak to one of their industry experts about their proven track record for safety management on numerous projects. Or perhaps you're looking for construction safety staffing, contractor monitoring, incident investigation, or program development and training. Check out Renew Safety at renewsafety.com. What made you go to that job fair at the Ranger Stadium?
So I had about 80 days of leave saved up getting out of the military. So I knew I was going to be getting a little bit of money in still. I had a little bit of time. But I had a wife and one kid at the time.
Okay.
So I'm like, man, I feel like I'm in the same situation before I went in the military because, the military does give you a base guideline, getting out, help you get on your feet and stuff. But how many jobs are there in the world? And which one do you want to do? What do you think's right? You don't know.
No.
Right? So you just spent the last 5 years of your life doing something, right? And it feels like you're starting your life all over. So, I don't know. To me, it was one of those happen for a reason type scenarios, and I'm glad it did, right? So
Yeah.
because we are today.
It's a tough thing to answer. What do you want to do when you grow up?
It is.
We ask everybody this. It is to my own children. People ask me. I think it's sometimes horrible. I still don't know what I want to do when I grow up.
No.
I think I just don't want to grow up. How about that?
Yeah.
And I can tell you what I want to do now.
Yes.
That's it. That's enough. Okay. Then you got to work. Sounds like you didn't hit the names, and that's all right. But you worked for a few different companies, and you then later got to use your mechanical and electronic skill sets for troubleshooting. But you had to work a few years to learn the product. Yeah.
Absolutely. So the mechanical side of me, right? And this might sound weird, but growing up around cars and stuff like that, I remember the first time I got up a wind turbine, I automatically knew. I was like, yep, I probably didn't say gearbox at first. I was like, that's transmission. Like
Yeah,
that's what's, outputting to the generator right there.
sure.
I understood it, right? But yeah, I had to learn all the names of the components. And you know what? I'm glad I started in maintenance. A
Hmm.
lot of people look at maintenance as, it's the bottom of the barrel. You're just cleaning and torquing. But you get very intimate with that tower. Every piece, every little nook and cranny, right? And a lot of people don't, you go into troubleshoot, well, you're only learning that little bit at a time, right? You start off doing a break-in maintenance, you're touching everything in that tower.
Yeah.
And you're doing electrical checks, right, in the systems and stuff. So, you know, I set a great foundation for me then taking that electrical knowledge that I did have
Hmm.
moving forward in the other jobs. So,
Yep. Let's talk about maintenances for a minute because I also think and have advocated my entire career that you want to send your best people or a very seasoned, experienced technician must be on every crew because that's who sees and knows if there's a problem and can catch it real time. You talk about it, so I'm gonna steal your line and then ask you the dance. What is it? What does it mean, the dance, when you're doing a maintenance?
so how do I describe the dance? It's so you can take any part of business or a job or anything, right? You always want to find the most efficient order to accomplish tasks or anything,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so a maintenance is no different. You can do it 100 different ways, but there's always, this also depends on the crew, right? It depends on the makeup of your crew, your guys' qualities and their strengths, right? One crew could start out torquing the hub and everything first. One could start out doing the collector ring on the generator
Mm-hmm.
because, well, they're faster at that side, and then it leads into the other stuff that maybe they need to work together on to complete quicker, right? So it's a dance, and everybody has to figure out how they're good at dancing, right?
I've shared with you, I've been through a lot of lean process training and implementation of lean process as well as Six Sigma. So when I hear it, I said, well, you're developing the lean process, right? You're moving the people through the product, not the product through the people, and it's the most efficient to get it done. But you come up with this, what's the right, intuitively, and what made you want to come up with that most efficient process? How did you get to that point? Did you have training in the space of process development or?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
I think the closest thing to training on that would just being in the military, and there's processes
Mm,
for it. Right. They've been around for how long now? So
yeah.
processes are everything over there. But I would say a little bit of it comes from the first crew I was a part of in in maintenance is the fact that they had a system, right? And as I started working with different crews, over various sites, I start seeing these different ways that other people do stuff, right? And it's just a data collection. And then you go, okay, well, I've seen it 50 different ways now, right? I might not like any of them, but if I take pieces from all of them, you can be real efficient.
Yeah.
So,
And then the makeup of the crew, that's a tougher one because you don't get to solve for it before you start the job, right? You
not
have
as a
to
technician.
you have to learn that one once you get there, the crew that you're on, and solve for that. I don't. How does that work? I'm just thinking of an analogy. I mean, like I can feed people and cook, but not very well. There's other people on the team. You don't want me cooking.
Well, I'm not going to say I know a term for it, but it's the fact is that if I was to go do a maintenance tomorrow, and uh, I get whoever I get, right? Let's just say whoever shows up shows up. The first 3 days, I'm paying attention. I'm and we'll switch jobs. We're gonna find out who's efficient at what, and then we're going to streamline it. If after 3 days you can't figure out how to streamline that task, well, as far as maintenance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, then you probably need to pull back a little bit and revisit where you're at, because everything can be increased in efficiency. There's always something, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
The learning curve has to start over and over again. You can't undervalue that there is a learning curve for a new team starting a new cycle of maintenances.
correct.
Has to happen every time.
Different site, right? Different roads, different access requirements. There's a lot of things that play into it, right? And if I took the same crew to the next site, the next platform, right, more than likely we would try to stay on that same routine. But hey, they threw these 3 other tasks in. We got to change it up a little bit, right? So, and that gets into a little bit of cohesion between the crew too, right? One, you don't want to burn the crew out, but the longer you can keep a crew together that has good cohesion, right? They work well together. And a lot of times you see that with guys that will hang out outside of work, right? Because now they know each other past, oh, you missed that spot. I can't believe this guy.
Sure.
You're building that relationship past that. Those are the ones that thrive. So, but then they build that culture between each other. And then when you eventually have to split them up, whether they're progressing in their career, right? They're taking those same values that they just built with those guys, and they're doing it with other people now.
That's fantastic. Now they get to go replicate.
Yep.
That's fantastic. What? So you said Granite was your first company you worked for in renewables in wind. Tell me, what did your first month look like?
Well, it was I was like a lost puppy. I didn't know what to expect. I knew it was a wind turbine. I knew from Airstreams I was gonna, dealing with electricity and some light tools, some heavy tools, right? With Granite at the time, they would send all their new personnel to not Tehachapi. What's the place in New Mexico? They had that single 1.5G turbine, Tucumcari.
Tucumcari?
Tucumcari, New Mexico.
Okay.
And they have a 1.5G tower out behind it. And you'd go through all their safety, your onboarding, set up your phone, your email. So it was a pretty big information take in, right? And then you go into, okay, now we need to certify you for climbing at heights and rescue. You got to go through that whole thing. So, the first week of on the job was just take it all in, take it all in, take it all in. And then you get to the field and you feel like you're right back in the same space. You're like, okay, I know I got to show up at this address, which is a shop. And do I go in? Do I not go in? Do I wait for somebody in the parking lot?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say for any leadership out there hiring, don't give your guys details. Don't, especially if they're brand new to the industry, give them that lead's contact. Make sure your lead's talking to them. Make them feel comfortable. Just makes it easier on them.
Explain the small things, right? Here's where you're going to drive to.
Right.
Come into this door, meet with this person, this time, this location. Explain all the small things. Makes the person feel comfortable.
Yeah. Because nobody likes unknown things. I think that's just a human thing. Right.
No, it adds nervousness for sure.
So.
Yeah, and they're simple. Okay. All right. So a little bit of training. Make sure that you were qualified to go to work.
Yep. And I remember first tower, first day, I can still picture it. I was, first guy starts heading up. The lead starts doing the rotor stator lotto, and he's like, climb to the first deck, take off the second bag, start torquing the flanges. All right. I had a mechanical background. So I was like, okay, what's it torque to? That was my first question. I get up there, I bang it out. I'm up tower. I get up tower to the guy that climbed first, and he's just like, you're done? It's like, yeah, the yaw deck's done too. I don't know what to do next, though. He's like, you're going to be good. I was like, okay, I still don't know what I'm doing. Like, I've done one thing, you know?
Yeah.
Um, and
You must have done it well.
well, I still had that, get up, get it done for the military, right? I was still
Some
fresh out
hustle.
of it. Yeah. And so I still had that, so
You still have that today, Ross.
I know.
Yeah.
It's,
That's part of who you are.
if there's something that needs to be done, I like to get after it.
Yep.
Because I'm one of those people, if I don't just get up and do it, it probably won't get done. I'm
Yeah.
one of those people. And then I'll forget about it because I didn't write it down somewhere.
The time is now. The best time
Yeah.
is now. Yeah.
So,
Okay. All right. Torkin.
but I think what I'm trying to say is that your first month in the field as a new to this industry is highly dependent on the people you're around, right? And what type of safety you're going to learn, what type of do's and don'ts you're going to learn, right? Are they even teaching you the right way? Do you know? No, you don't know. You're brand new to the industry, right?
We'd like to take this time to thank another one of our wonderful sponsors, Podge Engineering. Podge Engineering, making wind and solar all we know it can be. Are your renewable energy assets underperforming or not performing at all? Did you expect many years of longevity and they're failing on you now? Podge LLC offers many customized, engineered products and solutions to get these assets back on track. Podge Engineering also performs root cause analysis, engineering services, procurement, and construction. Visit podge.org. That's PADGE.org. Remember Podge, making wind and solar all we know it can be. Give me the first year. What kind of jobs did you get to be a part of in your first year?
All maintenance.
All maintenance.
All maintenance. So
This is why it's a dance. You're the dance instructor then.
I
on
became
maintenances now.
I became one very quickly. About 3 months into my first project, which that was is in Balco, Oklahoma. The weather there is, it just comes off the Rockies and wreaks havoc up there in those plains. So we had a lot of weather delays, but a lead got sent somewhere else, and they're like, "Hey, Ross, you're running this crew now." I'm like, "But all I know how to do is do the maintenance and sign in the morning."
Right.
Like, what do you mean I'm running it?
I'll teach them all how to sign in.
Yeah. And I'm like, I've signed the lotto, but I haven't fully done the lotto.
This was after 1 year?
After 2 months,
Oh my goodness.
right?
Okay.
And so I figure out how to run a crew, and I figure out how to fill in a GE checklist. I'd never done that part, so I'm reading through it, and that goes back to learning the names of things. I'm going through this checklist, and I'm like, what's the gin frame? Like, what is that? I was torquing it. I knew what it was torqued to, but I didn't know its proper name.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
I'm learning all these things, right? So we leave that site.
And that's an in-depth technical checklist.
It is.
I'm familiar.
You probably made it, knowing you.
Not at that point in my career.
Okay.
Some of the early
All
ones.
right.
Some of the early ones.
So right after that, we get to our next site. I can't remember the reason, but once again, "Hey, Ross, you're running the site." And I'm like, "Hold on. What else do I got to do?" Like, I don't know. They're like, "No, you just do what you're doing, but now you audit everybody else's stuff and make sure they're doing it right." And I'm like, "Well, okay, yeah. I know I can do that, So I just kept getting thrown to the wolves, right? And probably by the end of that first year, maybe about a year and a half, I was running a maintenance site and helping leadership, kind of cover other sites where I could as well.
Okay.
Right. So I don't want to say fast tracked, but I was thrown to the wolves and said, "Hey, and I don't know if they're just like, he can handle it. It's Ross. I don't know if,
Sure.
but yeah.
It's I don't know what I want to say. That worked for you,
Right.
clearly. But I don't know if I recommend that to be the right process for
No.
first year technicians. I don't care how old you are, because well, I don't want to discredit it. You certainly have the leadership, natural ability, that hustle to get the work done, and I assume asking a lot of questions. So it shows, you're trying to learn more. It just, that's a good point for other technicians to always be asking questions.
Always. There's people from that first year that I still call.
Sure.
You never know, right?
Mm-hmm.
And as long as you keep those relationships, right? And you just don't go out there thinking you're going to take over the world like Billy Badass,
That's right.
you make those connections. You lean on those people lean on you, right? And it could be within your own crew or people at other companies at this point, right?
Yeah.
And it's super important, right? And yeah, not every technician should be put in that spot. I think that was the environment of the company and where they were at the time, contracts and stuff like that. We don't need to get into all that, but
Sure.
I think that's why that happened, right?
A lot of fast growth in this
Yes.
industry. My entire career has been fast. We're about to approach, a new speed that will likely dwarf the time that I've spent in the industry. But we got to be careful. What is the right way? What is in your opinion, or how do you, because you've hired a lot of technicians now, you've trained, onboarded, put them to work. What's the right way? What should the first month look like? Then the first year?
Well, the first month is one, when I interview people, I like to figure out their strong suit from the interview to a certain extent, right? I'm like, okay, he's more mechanical versus electrical or vice versa, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if at all possible, I would like to start them off in their stronger suit, right? It's more comfortable for them, right? They get to learn something they already have a comprehension for, and they get to develop that a little bit, right? And then
It's like a confidence building
it is,
exercise.
and then you can push them into the things that, okay, hey, now we need to round you out. You're a triangle right now, but need you nice and round here.
Okay.
So we're gonna go send you the stuff you don't know, but you've been in certain situations. You understand what's safe, what's not safe. You're not just gonna go do something to hurt yourself or others at that point, right? Because you don't know. And you also have to, that gives you enough time to learn that technician. If you don't know your technicians from a management standpoint, their strengths, their weaknesses, how they react, how to talk to them, right? You're going to set them up for failure at some point. You have to know the person.
I ask you, what does first month, first year look like for a technician? And I think what you're telling me is what that technician's manager's job looks like the first month of the technician first year, right? Am I hearing it right?
Well, that manager plays a huge role in that technician's first month and first year. They do. It's, it's two very different positions, but if one fails, the other fails, and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't make it work, then your cookie's gonna crumble.
So the message right now is managers, learn your technicians during the hiring process, the onboarding process, so that you can make good decisions to invest in their career the right way. I love that. Okay, so step one is try and put that new person into a task that they're most familiar with. Build some confidence, they learn something.
Well, and your customers will thank you too, because now you got somebody that's somewhat understands.
It's a heck of a balance to make this industry grow and be efficient with the growth from a services
It is.
perspective. It's one heck of a challenge. Okay, so be very careful. The manager, know your people. All right, but the technician then, a good plan should expect to go do a task most related to their experiences and skill sets for a while, that task, until they become great at it, and then start expanding. How long does that take? Is that 3 months? What does that look like?
That depends on the person. That's hard to
Of
put a
course.
number on, right? It's like saying, hey, I hired a new guy to MCE, right? Maybe he could have been plowing a field last week, right? We know he can work hard, but he knows nothing about it, right? But if that guy really steps up and he starts figuring it out, asking questions, right? And, don't be scared to say, hey, can I call this one out? Can I call this rotor out? That's it, right? Some guys or gals don't want to be that person,
Sure.
right? They want to kind of sit back. They like where they are. I feel like a broken record. Know your people.
Know your people. Well, okay. Yep, it's human dependent on agreed. But I would say it's not 2 months. It's not what you experienced. It should be longer. 6 months seems reasonable on average. A general rule of thumb, yeah?
Yeah, I think that's a good
Just a rule of
bullet
thumb.
point there. Just
Yeah.
You could take a guy, in maintenance, and in 6 months, yeah, he could definitely run a crew if he wants. I wholly believe that, as long as it's on the platforms he knows, right?
Sure.
Troubleshooting, right? Let's say it's just one platform, right? You might be able to read and understand every page of that schematics, but do you understand the tower? Do you understand what those schematics are telling you in the tower, right? So definitely 6 months, right? You need to see all these different faults, these different problems, and really troubleshooting could take much longer to become that guy that's sitting at a desk helping other people troubleshoot, right? So
No. Trouble, like mastering troubleshooting on any platform, I think is, that never ends,
no,
right? Even for some of the design engineers that made them, just new problems happen. And there isn't the answer. We got to go solve, investigate. Yeah, no, never. No one can ever be perfect at it. So that's it's a practice, I suppose. Okay, so that's I get it. So if I'm a new technician, that's what I should expect. I should expect some information. Where do I go? Give me the small details. How to get there. My first month is going to be doing something repetitive that I'm most familiar with. That feels comfortable. And then you can start to teach that new person more. First year should really be a lot of that. Okay, maybe it's a natural leader or a person that has, comes with a decade of experience in something similar, so it can be an early leader. But it's still leading in one specific area that they have performed and executed on.
right. So I guess to really just sum it up, there's a guy named Josh Hughes, who's a brother of a friend of mine growing up. I was doing seamless gutters before I went in the military and stuff. And he told me, no matter where you work, if you work like you're going to own that company one day, you'll never fail,
That's a good one.
right? And I've put that in everything from then, right? I don't think I've talked to him in 12 years or something. I don't know. It's been a long time, right? But it stuck with me, right?
Work like you're going to own that company.
Yep.
All right. Well, you've answered one of the questions I ask a lot of folks is, what's a good piece of advice a mentor ever gave you? Work like you're going to own the company. I've heard it other ways, like, run it like you own it, things like that. But that's really good. We'd like to thank our sponsor, Altair Energy Services, and their highly trained, expert technical staff, leveraging decades of renewable power management experience into customized solutions for everyone to meet their energy goals and contribute to a better future for all. Altair's team of hardworking, respected experts are providing full-scope, turnkey repairs, planned and unplanned maintenance, system upgrades, fully autonomous technical crews, supplemental staffing, and customized dynamic scheduling to fit your power production needs. Contact Altair at info@altairenergyservices.com and learn more about their wide range of capabilities across multiple power technologies and platforms. Have you had many mentors along the career path?
You know, I, I don't like the word mentor.
Oh,
And the reason I don't like it is because I think that everybody around you is a mentor in a sense, because everybody around you can teach you something that you don't know.
sure.
We've all walked a different path in life. So I as I think you just need to build those relationships and have multiple people to call on, right? And they might all have their specific areas that they can mentor you in, but to say that there's just one, that's not possible. That's you know that's a hard thing to say, because we to me in this industry we lean on each other a lot, right? We could you could be at two different companies and you're bidding against each other, right? And that information could not be relevant to that, but hey, I'm gonna call him because he knows it,
Sure.
right? And hey, sometimes they might say, "Hey, I can't help you with that one," but that's to me, you need multiple guys. It's not just one.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. You're right. You have to keep a large network out there. A little bit of the old the village raises the child
Mm-hmm.
kind of philosophy there. You don't like mentors. It's interesting because you're saying listen to and learn from everyone around you.
Everyone.
Don't just focus on one person. Learn from everyone. Yeah. No, there's always something special when somebody comes along and really partners up to teach, or maybe you grab someone and
Right.
really teach. That's a different situation. But I love this message. It's try to learn from everyone.
Everyone.
Yeah. And never stop learning.
I till this day I have technicians teach me stuff.
Sure.
You're never too big and bad. You're always learning.
Yeah. And I can't, walk onto a job site or talk to the technicians without learning something. It's guaranteed. I've been out of the field way too long. The tools have changed. The parts have changed. Everything's different.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah.
But that's a good sign. Ever evolving.
Yeah, we're evolving.
Definitely
That's
need
right.
that.
Yeah, we're growing. Okay. I like it. Just, what advice would you give a technician that's considering joining the industry?
Job security is not a problem.
Mm.
As long as you know how to show up on time and you're attentive, don't be on your phone all the time. That's a big thing nowadays, right? Technology, it's not going to go anywhere. It's something we have to deal with. But yeah, just show up on time and you're always going to have a job.
Mm-hmm.
It's, you know, show up. If you don't like it, you're going to figure out something else in the industry that you like, right?
Yeah.
You might start on a traveling job and you find out, it's not really for me. But now you have an avenue to stick it out one more year or two. And okay, I'm going to go get a side job, right? Or go work for a purchaser, or, go work at a rock, or there's so many avenues, right? As long as you put your foot in the door, you'll find a place. So
As long as you put your foot in the door. It's such a fun theme for me to realize from other guests on the podcast. That's a theme. It's a thing. You've got to start somewhere in order to even have an idea about what other opportunities are out there. It's hard to go find them. You didn't know about wind other than your father making a comment and a recruiter bringing you to a school. That school introduces you to 82 companies.
Yep.
You didn't know any of them before. And it was a technician job that you're applying for. So you knew one job type. You didn't know that the other job types were out there.
no,
Yeah.
I didn't know the difference between a commissioner or wind tech, or, it's all I knew was remote was traveling and the other was not. That's all I knew.
Yeah. Are you willing to travel? Because
Yes.
that's on the application, every application.
Yes.
Right. Are you willing? Show up on time, work hard, and just get your foot in the, you said get your foot in the door, which means go get a job.
That's it.
Start somewhere. I love it. That is a theme. It's one of the core initiatives of the podcast is to share that. And I am just pleasantly surprised on how that is a theme across so many different leaders in our industry is you have to start somewhere. Don't be worried about it being the wrong spot. Be worried about not taking a spot.
Right.
Yeah. And then it's simple fundamentals. Show up on time, work hard. I think you said something about probably have a good attitude.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely have a good attitude.
Yeah, have a good attitude. All right. That's great advice for somebody joining the industry. Where are we at? We're going to, I don't know when this is going to air, but we're going to RE Plus tomorrow. Looking forward to it?
Absolutely.
All right.
It's to me, it's one of the most hectic shows. Just the mass amount of people, right?
I know you're great at marketing research. Did you hear how many people were going this year, estimates?
I actually didn't.
Or exhibitors?
I actually didn't look this year.
Okay.
I think after last year, I just automatically assume there's going to be a lot of people.
40,000 people last year in Vegas.
That's crazy.
We couldn't see it all, could we?
No. It's multiple floors, multiple buildings. But I can tell you that I knew it was going to be a little crazy the first day when it was just looked like somebody opened up cattle gates and people were just funneling in, And when I realized they were all going to the same spot, I was like, well, at least I know I'm going the right way.
That's right. Yeah, we might want to get down there earlier. I just saw that passes open at 7 a.m. tomorrow.
I did see that.
Yeah,
I got that little email.
We might have to adjust our agenda and get down there just after LA rush hour, probably.
Yes.
What are you most looking forward to about RE Plus this year?
Making those new connections, showing these manufacturers and or purchasers, how Altair is trying to change the direction of the industry with the technicians, caring about the technicians, putting a good product in front of them and telling them, and we've done it on multiple jobs now that, a customer will call us and they say, hey, we have this problem. Can you help us? And we say, we haven't worked on that specific set of equipment, but we have worked on like equipment with great success. And if you're willing to let us take a shot at it, we're going to go do it for you. And we're going to be honest with you the whole way. Instead of just tell them, oh yeah, we can fix that. Don't worry about it. We got you. And, to me, it's stealing money. It's bad practice. It puts a bad taste across the whole industry. You just can't do it. I guess you can. So I think there's people proving us wrong on that, but
wow,
it's not good for the industry in a whole.
That's the money pit contractor. Remember that movie? The contractor, you do anything, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I guess the house got built.
Yeah.
It did get finished. But
the wood was still wet.
Yeah, right? So why does that work? Why does that work for you? That customer communication line that you were just explaining.
Well, they know what to expect. What I can promise them that we'll show up in a Learjet out in the middle of the field and drop all our tools, but that's not realistic, right?
Right.
We're going to tell them exactly what we're sending. They know exactly what our technicians are certified in, what their certs are, right? You give them that product, you be honest with them with what they're getting, and you go out and you execute the job with safety and quality. And, it just works. It's simple business.
It's simple. Honest transparency.
That's it.
Yeah.
And, does that mean you're going to end up with 1,000 POs lined up? No. But they're going to call you back.
Sure.
Because you're honest with them. You're not hiding costs. You're upfront about everything. They don't get a bunch of change orders at the end. Those are the simple things
Nice and
that they
simple.
like.
I got a couple questions in there, but let me ask first, how did being a technician for a number of years help you to get in? I mean, you're essentially kind of part-time salesperson, right?
Yeah.
And having those conversations and planning the jobs with the customer. So communicating with the customers, trying to win the job sometimes. Did that benefit you? I mean, what advantage did it give you?
Absolutely. Um, it is so much easier to sell something if you know what you're talking about. First of all, that's probably
I love how you simplify. It's trying to ask a deep question.
yeah.
You just
Well,
this simple approach. That's good.
I like to keep
So you
things
know what you're
simple.
talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know, let me put my shoes in somebody that doesn't know, right? I might know contracts, right? Say I know contracts, but I don't know anything about what they're working on, right? So yeah, I could look at a contract, see, throw some numbers together, but how do I know? You don't know because you don't know the task, you don't know the equipment, you don't understand the time it takes to do that work.
Mm-hmm.
So one, you're either going to have an accepting customer that will take your change orders, or you're going to severely ruin that relationship.
Neither of those are real good options.
Right. But this also goes back to make a phone call, lean on those 100 different mentors you have, right? That's it. Not, I don't know everything. You don't know everything.
No.
It's, but the fact is that you can make that a good practice, instead of just, oh, well, I think they'll take this price. Let's see if we get it, you know.
We'd like to thank our sponsors, 3S Lift, a global supplier of safety and access solutions with a focus on wind energy. Their innovative ladder-mounted single technician lift called the Climb Auto System completely eliminates the need to climb ladders up to 120 meters. And if you've ever climbed in the freezing cold of North Dakota or the sweltering heat of South Texas, you know the safety and efficiency value that this product brings to wind technicians and owner-operators. In North America, 3S has installed over 15,000 of these lifts and are installing 200 per week. If your site is still climbing, you should contact 3S Lift at info@3samericas.com to get your quote to retrofit your turbines, or go on their website, 3slift.com, to learn more. That's a lot of guesswork, a lot of risk to take with that approach. So, okay, you know your product, you know your service. That's what the years of being a technician brought you. I feel the same. However, mine were now very long ago, and the technologies, even the tools have changed. It drives me nuts that I don't know the names of the new tools anymore. So I get to say I don't know a lot. However, I still think I speak the language, and it still gives me that advantage when speaking with customers as well. I'm so glad you're going with me, because that otherwise it'd be too many I don't knows from Altair. Okay, so you're excited about customer meetings and sharing more of who we are at Altair. And you talked about the technicians. So what do you tell the customers then about how Altair and the technicians and the mission and the
Well, we put our technicians first
okay.
at Altair, right? We, not to be too blind about it, but our technicians are more important than our customers, right? Because without our technicians, we don't have customers.
Mm-hmm.
Simple business, It sound like a broken record still, but if a guy's not happy and he knows he can call you and say why he's not happy, you're doing it right. If he's not happy and he doesn't trust you, you're going to have a problem down the road. It's going to end up multiplying, right? You have to treat your technicians right, and they'll treat your customers right.
Yeah, it's a technician first business.
That's it.
Yeah, I love being a part of that, by the way. And um, it I remember some of my first customer meetings. I was nervous to say, I don't focus on you. I focus on my team. My team focuses on you.
Hmm.
It's been well received, but it can be a tough message to deliver sometimes. It's
Yeah, internally when you say it, it kind of feels like it's like, well, screw you. I care more about it.
yeah.
But
Who
that's
wants to hear that?
but I'm glad that, our customers are being receptive to it and they're understanding what we're saying, right? Because
Yeah.
I think that attrition is a huge problem in our industry, right? So here we are. We're trying to change that. That's just one of the few things one of the many, I guess, we're trying to change.
Yeah, that's right. You have to battle attrition, but you also have to bring in new people and more people. We've done these market studies together. All the folks that, in this podcast network, they know the market studies, they know the demand for more people needed in these jobs. So everybody has to part of hiring new people, technicians, managers, engineers, procurement, safety, everything.
Absolutely.
And they all need that same kind of first month, first year treatment by their manager, regardless of the job type, in order for all of us to succeed. I know we talk a lot about the technician, but I really do think it's the same for all job types.
Well, if we have our seasoned people leaving, no matter their position, who is the new guy going to learn from? What, right now you're causing more stress on every part of the company, no matter the level.
Mm-hmm.
It's just how it is.
Right. So if you've been in the industry a while, be one of those mentors out there and share, right?
That's right. Yeah. And, I think we touched on, technicians that are still in the field and you're getting up there in their age and their years in the field, right? And some of those guys love staying there. That's where they want to be. But we have to give those guys an avenue to move up the chain, right? Whether it's with us or with a customer, you have to give them an avenue because once again, if they leave the industry, their knowledge leaves with them.
Mm-hmm.
And as fast as it's growing, we have to keep the knowledge, right? Whether it's with us or, hey, go join their team. Right?
Exactly. Yeah. And support somebody that wants to leave. We've said this a lot. If you want to go somewhere else, we'll help you.
Yeah.
Get a referral letter, provided you've earned it, and most people do.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And we'll help you. We can't be scared of that. We have to be able to support the people that supports the companies. This supports the initiative. More power.
And they still talk good about the industry, which gets more new people in. It's a domino effect that's obviously needed, right?
Yep. That's why, the ground rule of the podcast is there's no negative conversation. There's no trashing of people, companies, product, services, nothing. We support each other for that common goal. And it works for each company. I don't care what you're doing. If you're doing a podcast, if you're manufacturing, designing, just services, parts, tools, it works. And I am also looking forward to going to RE Plus with you. I think I'm most looking forward to the fact that you're with me because these things seem to be more exhausting for me than they used to be. Not that old, but it's hard work.
It is.
Yeah. And it's a lot of people to go talk to. I'm just going to share, I'm looking forward to seeing the new technologies and new companies out there.
Absolutely.
And meeting with some of them. And, we've received some feedback on other topics for the podcast. I'm kind of looking forward to a little networking that way, as well as, treating Altair's customers. Now we have customers to go treat to a lunch
That's
or
weird,
a dinner.
huh?
It's crazy to think. I'm so excited. We get to, have those appreciation get-togethers. But I appreciate you a ton. You seem to always sort of keep me on track. I'm that squirrel or the dog chasing the squirrel rather. Yeah. And I haven't lost that childhood thing. There's too much to look at.
Oh, believe me, maybe one of these years I'll be able to go to one of these events and just look at things that I don't know about. I think well, at the end of last year, we stopped and talked to the guy, something to do with hydrogen and combustion and stuff, right? And I was like, man, I could sit here and talk to this guy for 2 hours. Like, I love this. But hey, we got a job to do, right? We have to go meet those customers. We got to start those initiatives with the new customers, and show them what we're doing and go get that work.
I'm hoping for a little hydrogen time too. That's one of my favorite technologies that I want to learn more about. So I want like one hydrogen hour.
Oh, okay.
All right.
I think we can fit it.
But yeah, it's gonna be great. We'll go down Monday. We'll have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, kind of boogie out of there. Thursday, we both got to go back to work.
Yep. Right back to doing some tower inspections out here in California still.
Yep.
And then to Oklahoma, and then spend a couple days at home, and me and you got to make another quick trip.
That's right. Then it's Florida and Montana.
For me, yeah.
Yeah.
Good buddy having a wedding. It's mentors. He's, guy that was brand new to wind under me at Philcor, and, now he works for one of the big O&Ms, and,
We don't talk about, we should. You've created a lot of personal friendships throughout your career. I have too.
That's a big thing.
It's a big thing.
And that's, I didn't mean to shoot you down on the whole mentor thing, but that's the thing. I
loved your answer.
It's a whole group, right? And, I guess if that's something I could tell anybody in new technicians is make connections, talk to people, and stay in contact, right? I go 2 years without talking to some people, and I call them up, and they're like, "Hey, Ross," it's like, and then you catch up for 2 hours, right? Because you haven't talked to each other, but you still keep those connections, right? It's just a huge knowledge share.
Knowledge share, and I don't know what the right term is, like career support.
Absolutely.
It's not easy. Forget the work. I mean, the travel, the days are long, the weeks can be long. If you're living on the road, family or not, it wears on you. And yet you got to put together that support group.
Yes.
It's not mentors, I suppose, but you're building your own friend network, I suppose, or professional friends.
Well, and as you get older in this industry, people go other places. They get other jobs, right?
Yeah.
But you got maybe that little group that's you're a little closer with, and they'll call you and they're like, "I need to vent. You're gonna be the guy I take it out on." I'm like, "Let me hear it."
You're a good guy for that.
Well,
you don't get shaken.
well, but we're not always in a good spot to vent internally.
Sure.
It's sometimes you got to say things that shouldn't be said, and you can call those people.
This is fantastic, Ross. Your passion for how to give a new employee, a technician is what we focused on, a great intro and a great first year start is inspiring. I hope that more, I don't want to always be giving out some of the what we think is magic at Altair, but I don't want to hold it in either because it's good for everyone. We got to win together.
Grows. Yeah, everybody's got to grow.
Everybody's got to grow. That's the only way that this whole initiative around the planet works.
Yep.
I love your passion for it. I think you have a great recipe for it. You certainly are, an expert in that space, and looking forward to seeing that being replicated. Because, as you said, they get to go and work with 2 more people, so to speak.
That's it.
Yeah. All right, buddy. Thank you for coming and to What's Up Renewables podcast. And I'm looking forward to RE Plus this week with you.
Appreciate you having me.
All right. Take care.
Thanks.